equipment for the obstacle course. I like to use the swimming pool noodles. This one I have already cut in half. They usually come like this. If you cut them in half, you will see that they are a really good size for a hurdle. Now I'm going to show you how I make the stand. I like to use like a 1x6 or a 1x4 for the base, and then I like to have it about 4 to 6 inches long also. So you can cut these by hand, but I'm going to use my circular saw or my saw to speed up the process here. You always need to wear safety glasses if you use a saw like that. There's a lot of handymen. You can probably talk a friend into cutting you some small pieces like this. And there is plenty of scrap wood around. This is part of an old door frame. I don't like to spend money unless I have to. So I've got this one piece, and now I'm going to take a speed bit. It's shaped like this to make my supports out of PVC pipe. 1/2-inch PVC pipe works really well. What I like to do, I'll center it. Go about halfway through and the point will come out. And then you just go back the other way. And your hole will be all the way through. Then these can be cut by hand. Now if you're making hurdles, which that's what we're going to do here, we're making hurdles. I like to make them about 8 inches long. I have younger students. You can make them, a foot, 16 inches if you have older students. But I have students from kindergarten through 5th, 6th grade, and they enjoy the challenge. So I'm going to cut these at 8 inches. Again, those can be cut by hand. Now, the pool noodles, those already come with a hole in the center. So these can actually serve two purposes. These posts, they have a hole in the center, and I've already told you I cut this in half. You can put them like that, and then you can have like a zigzag course where the students go in and out. Or you can use the same drill bit that you have and drill halfway through. I've already done that, a couple of inches from the end, and then they will fit right down on top. So you want to use a drill bit that's just a little bit bigger, slightly bigger than the outside of the 1/2-inch pipe. I used a 7/8. So these serve two purposes. Like I said, can be a zigzag course. The same thing can be turned into a hurdle by drilling the holes in the side or in the ends, a couple of inches from the end. This is also a part of my obstacle course, and it can be used for relays and other games. I took a piece of plywood, a 1-foot square, and then I took a 2x6, and it's basically about the same as what we just did, except you need a circle cutter. So those are pretty inexpensive. You have to find the right size. That can vary. I found this PVC pipe, and I measured it to the outside. It was 2¼ inches, and so I used the circle bit to cut that hole. Then I glued and nailed that on there, and then that fit real snugly into there. Now, at the end of my obstacle courses, a lot of times I have the students like carry a ping pong ball with them, and I don't let them run the whole course by themselves. I have them run a section at a time. So one will run the hurdles, one will run the zigzag, and you'll see that on one of my videos. And I usually have things going from one end of the court to the other, so they finish and start at the same position. But they end with something like this. The last person receives the ball, and they drop it in the smokestack. I call these my smokestack. I want to show you some of the other things that you can do with this. You can do a relay race and have the students end the race by stacking a football on there, going hands-free, like that. You could have them use dodgeballs or similar balls. They have to balance it on there, go hands-free. I usually, on my obstacle courses, I give them a point for being the first team to hand off the ball. They get 1 point there to hand off the ball to the last person, and then that last person, the first one that stacks it or puts it in the hole or whatever, they get a point. So anytime you race with the teams, they have an option of getting 0, 1, or 2 points. And students love the competition. Okay. So another thing I'll do on the obstacle course is I will cut some short pieces of the Nerf tubes, the swimming pool noodles. I'll cut them all the same length. I like about 3 or 4 inches. And then in the top, I will put a little notch. You can do this with scissors or an X-Acto knife. And here I have just a small hoop. I've cut 3 of these, the same size. They're all notched. And then I have a series of hoops. And you could even cut a larger notch and put a hula hoop in there, but I'll have a series of hoops that I have to lift their feet and go through those. But you can also do hula hoops by just cutting a bigger notch for those to sit in. That's another part of my obstacle course.